Helen Dombalis, who's the Policy and Strategic Partnerships Director at the National Farm to School Network. Tell us about what you do.
Sure. Thanks, Dennis, and thanks to Food Tank for having me here. Yes, that was well said. There is a lot happening on farm to school policy in DC and around the country. The National Farm to School Network is an information networking and advocacy hub. So advocacy is really one of the core elements of what we do, but connecting communities, farms, schools to farm to school programs. So we've mentioned farm to school a couple times already. Just for folks who don't know, farm to school has three core elements. One are school gardens, so getting kids' hands dirty, just getting them to have that hands-on experience with food. I thought Councilwoman Che's example earlier was a brilliant one. There is just something that happens to kids when they plant that seed and they watch the carrot or the sweet potato grow and then get to take it into the cafeteria or the classroom and eat it. The second part of farm to school is education. So this can be things like farm tours. So just taking kids out to a farm, getting them to shake the hand of a farmer who produces food for them, or bringing a taste test to the classroom. So taking beets that have been grown in the school garden and making 3 different recipes. So kids really get to feel they have a choice and are empowered to make a healthy choice for themselves because they're part of the process. And then the third part of farm to school is local procurement. So that's the literal farm to school, which you just mentioned. So that's actually focusing on supporting family farm incomes by buying local products that are going to go into the school cafeteria. So the National Farm to School Network works to connect people to people through our network of regional and state leads, through a conference we host every other year, connecting people to information so that they have what they need through fact sheets and monthly webinars in that conference, to actually then go start farm to school activities on the ground, and then our advocacy efforts at the federal and state level to really bolster and support, just has been mentioned, legislation like what's happened in DC to really grow farm to school programs.
So you're a national program. You did talk about DC, but are there areas where you've been able to make a big difference, or are there regions of the country where you've been able to actually make a difference with your presence more than in others, and where are places that you'd love to be able to make more progress than you have?
Great question, yeah. So I very vaguely mentioned that the National Farm to School Network, of course, we are a network. So we have a small national staff, so we really rely on the incredible resources of our 51, so 50 states plus DC, state leads, and then our 8 regional leads. We divided the country into 8 regions. And I encourage all of you, if you have not already, to connect with these folks. So we rely on them to really be the kind of boots on the ground to help implement these farm to school activities. Farm to school is a grassroots community-based movement. So we started with a handful of programs in the late 90s. As of last year, USDA's farm to school census, first time ever census, showed that we now have more than 40,000 schools spending over $385 million, yes, on local products. It started in California and Florida, and we've seen the farm to school movement now grow. New England has had a lot of success. They've really focused on taking farm to school to farm to institutions, so bringing in hospitals, bringing in colleges and universities, really trying to expand that institutional level. I think that in terms of your question about where might we need to focus more efforts, one area would be the South. You know, it was mentioned by the councilwoman earlier that one of the key issues around all of this is the obesity epidemic and diet-related diseases. And so we're seeing that there's a strong demand for farm to school programs in the South right now. We know the research shows that when kids are involved in farm to school programs, they actually eat more servings of fruits and vegetables, which makes sense. If they're growing it, if they're meeting the farmer, then they're going to be excited and eat those foods. So we're really excited to ramp up our work in the South, and then also in tribal communities. There's a strong demand from tribal communities, similarly with the South, because of diet-related diseases, to grow food and to get kids involved in the food system.